Welcome and thank you for being part of the program, The Eagle. My name is Aisha Gambari. I hope you will sit back and enjoy this week's edition of the program as we bring you a special package on how the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, keyed into government anti-corruption policy 2 years after President Muhammadu Buhari announced Ibrahim Mustapha Magu as the acting chairman of the commission. Also on the program is Aisha Mohammed. Hello.
Hi, Aisha. Hello, it's nice being with you again on the program. It is an interesting package as we showcase, among other things, the EFCC's efforts in the recovery of illegal acquired money and assets across the country. Please stay tuned.
And those were the devastating effects of corruption in Nigeria, a nation blessed with abundant natural and human resources, yet its people live in their needs. On May 29, 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari, in his inaugural speech, aptly captured the corruption problem facing Nigeria. He said, and I quote, "At home, we face enormous challenges: insecurity, pervasive corruption, the hitherto unending and seemingly impassable fuel and power shortages are the immediate concerns," unquote. Then the president made a solemn vow concerning the problems to fellow countrymen. Having recognized the many challenges posed by corruption and the negative effects on Nigeria, President Buhari anchored his government wide-ranging reforms on the fight against corruption. One of the first steps taken was to immediately cut down on wastages in government. Investigations into the public service system revealed that Nigeria lost billions of naira to the greedy hands of looters without conscience. One of their favorite sharp practices was perpetrated through the ghost workers syndrome. These calculated corrupt practices injected hundreds of thousands of non-existing workers into the government payroll system. According to the Presidential Initiative on Continuous Auditing on the Nominal Roll, about 24,000 ghost workers were discovered in ministries, departments, and agencies. These workers, it was discovered, do not fall under the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPIS, while 522 were discovered in the police pensioners covered by the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate. Over 18,000 ghost workers were identified in the military pension scheme, and about 400 were discovered in the MDAs, which fall under the IPPIS. Working in concert with the Federal Ministry of Finance, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, launched a swift operation that led to government saving billions of naira, as nearly 40,000 ghost workers have so far been removed from the system. The syndicate behind the monumental scam has been broken. In June 2017, the EFCC arraigned Onukaugu Onyiyechi Esther, Ebenua Chinazo Jennifer, and Onukagu Joshua before Justice A.S. Adepoju of the Federal High Court sitting in Wuse, Abuja, on 13 counts charge of conspiracy and obtaining by false pretense. The defendants were said to have drawn salaries as ghost workers from their respective ministries for 3 years to the tune of 9 million naira before the law caught up with them. One of the accused persons, Esther, between 2012 and 2013, allegedly abused her office while being a staff of Soft Alliance, a consultant company, working with the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation on IPPIS. She was accused to have imputed her name and those of her two siblings, namely Jennifer and Joshua, into the IPPIS database as staff of Federal Ministry of Education and Federal Ministry of Works, respectively, for the purpose of receiving salaries from the federal government. In March 2017, the EFCC also arraigned one Dairo Sheung for another ghost worker scam to the tune of over 11 million naira. Sheung was arraigned before Justice A.B. Mohammed of the FCT High Court, Jabi, in Abuja, on 8 counts bordering on theft, criminal breach of trust, and advance fee fraud. He was said to have created fictitious accounts for salaries and allowances using his various aliases. Another 9-man syndicate was smashed by the Commission in April 2016. The syndicate was alleged to have committed a 1 billion naira salary fraud, including about 600 ghost workers. Still in the government's efforts to check leakages, the federal government introduced the Treasury Single Account (TSA). The TSA, which is a financial policy that has been adopted by several countries around the world, was introduced in 2012. It was a system of accounting that consolidates all inflows from all agencies of government into a single account or a set of linked accounts by government to ensure all revenue receipts and payments are done through a consolidated revenue account at the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Sadly, the TSA was not put to proper use, and this led to unquantifiable loss of revenue and leakages in government, a development that necessitated the directive by the federal government in August 2015 when President Muhammadu Buhari ordered every ministry, department or agency of government to commence payment into a Treasury Single Account for all government revenues, incomes and other receipts, a measure that was specifically to promote transparency and facilitate compliance with Sections 80 and 162 of the country's 1999 Constitution. The EFCC keyed into this pronouncement. Operatives of the Commission, in a swift investigation, discovered several billions of naira hidden away by defaulting agencies. One of such is the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC. In January 2017, a former Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Emeka Mba, alongside 3 others, were arraigned before Justice Gabriel Kolawole of the Federal High Court in Maitama, Abuja, on 15 counts charge of money laundering and procurement fraud to the tune of 2.8 billion naira. They were alleged to have at various times connived to transfer the money from the account of the NBC through various proxies for their personal gains. Mba was also alleged to have used his company as the DG to award contracts without following due procurement process. Operatives of the Commission also arrested 4 directors of the National Theatre in Lagos for alleged embezzlement of government funds. They were accused to have allegedly failed to remit over 30 million naira, being revenue generated from the use of facilities at the National Theatre into the federal government Treasury Single Accounts. Still on the TSA fraud, in July 2017, Justice Chuka Obiozo of the Federal High Court in Lagos ordered the momentary remittance of about $800 million by 7 Nigerian commercial banks to the federal government. The money was allegedly hidden with the banks in violation of the federal government's Treasury Single Account policy. The judge ordered the banks to remit the various amounts into the designated federal government's asset recovery dollar accounts domiciled within the CBN. All in the efforts of checking economic and financial crimes. The federal government of Nigeria in December 2016 initiated the whistleblower policy. The primary goal of the policy is to support the fight against financial crimes and corruption by increasing exposure of financial crimes and rewarding whistleblowers. In order to promote such exposure, whistleblowers are encouraged and offered protection from harassment or intimidation by those bosses or employers. The hope is that more looted funds will be recovered through the encouragement of voluntary information about corrupt practices. The EFCC again keyed into this policy by quickly creating reporting portals via its social media platforms at official EFCC and through dedicated phone lines manned 24 hours by staff of the Commission.
Hello, good afternoon, EFCC. How may I help you?
The very first call which came through was that which revealed huge sums of money hidden in the slums of Sabon Tasha, located in Kaduna State. The Commission's operatives in a special operation conducted on 3rd February 2017 discovered huge sums of money in a building said to belong to Dr. Andrew Yakubu, a former group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC). A staggering amount of about 10 million United States dollars and another sum of 74,000 pounds sterling stashed away in cash hidden in a fireproof safe. The Commission in the same month filed an ex parte application seeking an interim forfeiture of the money before an Abuja High Court. The application was granted even as Yakubu challenged the court order. Still in Kaduna, on March 14, 2017, EFCC operatives also intercepted the sum of about 50 million naira in 5 large bags, following a tip-off. The bags were discovered during a routine baggage screening at the Kaduna International Airport after the 5 sacks were sighted unattended and without tags. In Lagos, Nigeria, a tip from a whistleblower also led operatives of the EFCC to intercept huge sums of money in various currencies at the popular Balogun market. The money include 547, 370 euros and 21,000 pounds sterling, as well as 5,648,500 naira. The total haul is about 250 million naira at the prevailing exchange rate at the parallel market. The interception followed information that cash was being moved somewhere in the market for conversion into foreign currencies by unnamed persons. Operatives responded timely, discovered the money in a Bureau de Change office, but a large chunk of it had been converted into euro and pounds sterling. Also in Lagos, operatives of the Commission's Lagos zone uncovered yet another large sum of suspected laundered money to the tune of about 500 million naira in a shop at Legiko Shopping Plaza, Hamadu Bello Way, Victoria Island, Lagos. The money stashed in several bags were in 500 naira and 1000 naira denominations hidden in a shop waiting conversion into foreign currency. Still in Lagos, operatives stormed an apartment in a residential building on the 7th floor of Osborne Towers, located at 16 Osborne Road, Ikoyi, Lagos, where foreign currencies and naira notes to the tune of over 40 million US dollars, 28,000 pounds sterling, and over 20 million naira were discovered. The operation followed a whistleblower's confidential alert regarding some noticed suspicious movement of bags in and out of a particular apartment in the building. The EFCC also uncovered another 4 billion naira after a tip-off by a whistleblower on April 11, 2017. Investigations as to the owner of the funds revealed that the money allegedly belongs to a former deputy governorship candidate in Niger State, Nigeria. In the vigorous pursuit of its law enforcement mandate, the EFCC in the last 2 years sent a forceful message that impunity will no longer be condoned by taking on high and mighty in the society. For the very first time in the history of the country, senior military officers, including former service chiefs, were investigated and arraigned on corruption charges. The now infamous Arms Gate or Dazuki Gate saga has witnessed the prosecution of the likes of Air Marshal Alex Bade, retired, former Chief of Defence Staff, Adesola Amosu, retired, a former Chief of Air Staff, and several others serving and retired generals for allegedly siphoning money meant for the procurement of arms to fight Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast. The money was allegedly diverted into their pockets. Also arrested and arraigned was Colonel Sambo Dasuki, a former security advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan, alongside their civilian counterparts and several politicians. One of the flanks of the war being waged by the Ibrahim Magu-led EFCC is leading to the recovery of billions of dollars originally provided to combat the Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria, but which allegedly found its ways into huge private estates of top military and political leaders. While the alleged free stealing and sharing lasted, hundreds of soldiers were dying on the battlefield. Women were raped, children kidnapped and rendered orphans, tens of thousands of innocent lives lost, houses and properties destroyed. The 2 million displaced people in camps across the country, while being thankful for their lives, contend with the harsh realities of survival. In many other parts of the country, compatriots continue to live in fear, grief, pain, and sorrow. As the sufferings continued, a few individuals far away in the big cities wined and dined on what is now being called the blood money. Over $15 billion meant to acquire equipment for the armed forces were allegedly shared among top military officers and politicians. Investigations have revealed, for instance, that in a single stream of transaction, the sum of $2.1 billion moved through the office of a one-time national security advisor to those of several individuals for fictitious services that were never rendered. They acquired properties worth billions of naira, mansions, shopping plazas, luxury cars, jewelry, and even stocked millions of dollars in their wardrobes. One of the major goals of the EFCC is to ensure that corrupt elements are denied access to the proceeds of their crime. From city to city, operatives of the EFCC, in calculated and well-planned raid, combed every nook and cranny of the country to confiscate all the assets traced to the missing funds. In Maitama, Abuja, Nigeria, for example, one of the retired generals allegedly involved in the bazaar bought an edifice estimated worth over 2 billion naira. And in highbrow areas in Lagos, Nigeria, the EFCC also traced and confiscated a number of properties worth over 5 billion naira linked to the massive fraud. Apart from the arms deal saga, the EFCC waged into the oil industry. The country's oil subsidy regime, which was characterized by massive corruption, was investigated, and many corrupt oil marketers were arrested and arraigned before various courts across the country. The subsidy fraud, which was perpetrated in connivance with government officials drained the country's treasury, as billions of naira was allegedly claimed by the criminals for products that were never supplied. On January 26, 2017, Justice Latifa Okunu of the Lagos State High Court in Ikeja convicted Walter Wagbasoma, Chairman, Ontario Oil and Gas Limited, and Ada Ugo Ngadi, Managing Director of the company. The EFCC had in 2013 accused them of involvement in a 1.9 billion naira oil subsidy fraud. The judge sentenced them to 10 years imprisonment for conspiracy, 10 years for obtaining by false pretense, 7 years for conspiracy to commit forgery, 8 years for forgery, and 8 years for altering of documents. Also convicted to 10 years imprisonment by the same judge was Rowaye Jibril, Managing Director, Brila Energy Limited, alongside his company, Brila Energy Limited. The convict was arraigned alongside its company in November 2012 on the 13 counts charge bordering on forgery and obtaining money by false pretense to the tune of 1 billion naira. Not resting on that, the Commission launched an investigation into the activities of the Ministry of Petroleum. An erstwhile minister in that ministry and her cronies were alleged to have stolen and laundered money in properties and jewelries worth over £5 million. After thorough investigations, a search was conducted by the EFCC operatives on the properties. During the search, operatives discovered boxes of jewelries worth over £2 million and dollars stashed away in millions. Another property linked to the former minister and her cronies is a luxury 6-bedroom duplex on plot 1853, T.Y. Danjuma, Asokoro in Abuja. The property was said to have been bought at the sum of $18 million and renovated with $2 million. Investigations further revealed that the property is equipped with a bulletproof gym and many other expensive facilities. Other properties traced to Daisiani across the country were also attached to a final forfeiture order secured by the EFCC. Justice Abdulaziz Anka of the Federal High Court in Lagos on October 11, 2017 ordered the final forfeiture of 56 houses belonging to Madueke. The properties valued at about $22 million are located in Lagos, Abuja and Port Harcourt, Rivers State. This forfeiture order is in addition to an earlier one secured by the EFCC in August 2017 before a Federal High Court in Lagos which ordered the final forfeiture of the sum of 7.6 billion naira being loot allegedly recovered from Madueke. The EFCC also waged into the over 20 billion naira scam in the pension office. Several individuals alleged to have stolen pension funds and laundered them were arrested and are currently facing charges. Notably amongst them is Sani Shuaibu Tedi, a former Director of Pensions Accounts, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. He was arraigned alongside 9 other suspects and their companies on a 22 counts charge bordering on obtaining money by false pretense, conspiracy to commit fraud, and concealing the illicit origin of stolen pensions fund. In 2015, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC also pressed charges of corruption to the tune of 2 billion naira on Mr. Abdul Rashid Maina and his accomplices. Maina, however, fled before the trial, prompting the issuance of an arrest warrant against him by the Commission. Similarly, the Commission also arrested the suspended Director General of the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, Nelly Meshak, and 3 others. Investigations revealed that Meshak allegedly misappropriated about 2 billion naira that was left in the pensions account of the head of the Civil Service, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs Service, and Nigeria Prison Service. She was also alleged to have embezzled about 500 million naira, meant as the takeoff grant for the organization she headed. In a country of over 170 million people, with many living in shanties where day-to-day survival remains a painstaking task, a fraction of criminals party on the resources meant to develop infrastructures and improve the citizens' standard of living. Thank you for staying tuned. The EFCC has shown that courage and dedicated leadership can bring an end to the menace of corruption in Nigeria. We hope Nigerians will continue to give their support to this all-important fight against corruption. That's all we have for you on the program this week. Please join us next week as we bring you another interesting package from our stables.
To leave a comment, please join us on our social media portals at Official EFCC. My name is Aisha Muhammad.
And I'm Aisha Gambari. God bless Nigeria.